Welcome everyone. I am Marilee Burnett, your tarot reader and astrologer, back again with the messages for the week of November 6th of 2023. And it should come as no surprise that we have yet another very intense week ahead. The energy this week is all leading up to a very powerful, transformative, surprising new moon in Scorpio. So let's talk about that energy. And then of course, if you're new to my channel, please remember to like and subscribe. If you watched my videos, could you please give me a thumbs up? Otherwise, nobody watches my videos because YouTube thinks that you don't like me, which you might not, but could you give me a thumbs up anyway? I would really appreciate it. And share my channel with other people that you think might benefit from the information. All right, of course, click on that subscribe button now if you are not currently a subscriber. So let's talk about the energy this week leading up to the new moon, but then we're really going to dig in on the details of the new moon because it is pretty intense. As the week begins, we'll see Saturn has finally ended its retrograde and is very slowly going to beginning to move forward again at 0 degrees of the sign of Pisces. Now, the 0 degree energy already is a pretty intense degree. It's unknown, it's brand new energy, and it's things that you are exploring and trying to understand. Pisces is a very spiritual sign. It's not very good at having boundaries, but with Saturn there, that's part of the lessons that you've been exploring since last June is how do I have good boundaries and still feel good about myself, right? It's hard. Sometimes we think when we keep good boundaries that we're being the bad guy. We're not. We're just being healthy. So there's work that can start to move forward now. Maybe work in general for you can move forward because this energy of Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Capricorn is the 10th house, which is our career. It's our status. So something important to you can slowly begin to move forward again. We have several months and into next year before Saturn will completely clear the space that it's been covering during the retrograde. I believe it has to get back to 7 degrees of Pisces before it is completely clear of this shadow period. The shadow period is the space that's covered repeatedly during the retrograde phase, and on the way forward, now we're giving a final look to what we've been reviewing while Saturn has been retrograde and wherever that's been happening in your chart. Now it's time to stop reflecting on it and start doing something about it, but slowly, with a plan, and listen to Saturn whenever you try to execute your plan. The other thing that we'll see is Mercury will be speaking in harmony with Neptune. This can help us to be very creative at the beginning of the week. It's very good for creative writing, for instance. And we also see Venus as the planet is lingering at the last few degrees of Virgo, meeting up with Pluto. This could be women in power. This could be money and power combining. This could be women in the news in making a powerful statement. So there's something that feels good and powerful if you're a woman. Specifically, but we all have feminine energy somewhere in our chart as well. But these two combine to do something important. Now, on the more darker side of this energy, it can lead to some obsessive love relationships, some very intense affairs. So, just beware. Don't fall into that. And by the middle of the week, Pluto's also sextile to Mercury. So Mercury is going to be winding up its time as it's been investigating things in the sign of Scorpio. And as it wraps up, it's having an important conversation with Pluto, ruler of Scorpio. So I feel like that's some kind of secret, some kind of information, something about people in power that is being brought to the surface and shared, right? Now this is it's a really soft, gentle energy. When you have a sextile, that means planets are 60 degrees apart from each other. So that's where Mercury will be at the end of Scorpio and then speaking in harmony with Pluto. So the information you learn could create a positive change for you wherever you have these two energies in your chart. Also on Wednesday, Venus will move out of Virgo, thank goodness, and she says, and into her home sign of Libra. Of course, Venus is being in love with love, and the attention will be positively focused on romance and relationships and balance. Now, this could also see women in legal positions that become more important, more visible at this time as well. And it takes Venus normally about 3 weeks to move through a sign. And now Venus is, finally, after a very long time in Leo, back into another sign that she truly enjoys. It's her home away from home, right? This is Libra. So Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Taurus topics are more about finances and material things, but Libra is about balance and relationships and justice. So we'll see what that turns out to be over the next several weeks. Then on Friday, things start to get pretty intense. Mars will be activating the new moon point, and that new moon happens at the wee hours of the morning on Monday. So we're talking about it this week so that you can be prepared for what changes are coming versus trying to wait and do it next week after it's already happened. So we are going to talk about and draw the cards for your important new moon message. Now, Mars is action, it's passion, it's aggression, right? It's movement, it's attacks, this all kinds of things, right? This Mars rules the sign of Aries. It rules the first house, and Mars is a warrior. So there is something new that is happening, and you're pretty passionate about what it is. Now, what is making this so intense is the fact that this new moon happens in the sign of Scorpio, which is already pretty intense energy, and it's going to be opposing Uranus, and Uranus is in retrograde. Now, an outer planet in retrograde is felt very much internally, except for Uranus. Uranus really shakes things up. Uranus is innovation. It's fighting for freedom. It is lightning, right? It is shocking. And it is unexpected twists and turns that suddenly happen in your life. So you've got the Uranus energy, unexpected things that are happening, and then Mars, which prefers to just move forward, conquer, not look back, and just go, 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 go. So these two is like fire and gasoline, right? Imagine a lightning bolt that strikes fire already, right? It just makes it even more intense. So we are in for a very intense weekend next weekend because of this push and pull happening between Uranus and Mars. So whatever's being stirred up, whatever you're beginning to see, and it could happen even early in the week, right? It is going to be something that you have to work through. We can't ignore it. It is something that inspires us to make a dramatic, significant change in our lives. Wherever you have this Scorpio energy in your chart is being really strongly pushed on to create a new beginning. This will be the impetus, right? So that starts, I think you'll feel it beginning Friday the most. And at the same time as those two start talking together on Friday, Mercury will move out of Scorpio, so it's finished doing all of its investigating, and then it will move into the sign of Sagittarius. And as soon as it enters Sagittarius, it will be squaring Saturn. Saturn's still sitting at 0 degrees. So Saturn in Pisces, we've talked about needing good boundaries. And then Mercury into Sagittarius is not its strongest placement. In fact, it's an opposing sign to one of Mercury's home signs, which is Gemini. Gemini is really good at all of the details, all of the communication, learning. It is very good at the smaller picture. In Sagittarius, Mercury can get a little bit lost. It's too big. It's too much information. It can be overwhelming. And the energy is very fast. It's fire, right? And Mercury is an air element when it is in the sign of Gemini, and it's an earthy element when it's in the sign of Virgo. It's definitely not a fire sign, but this can make the information, for instance, that has been uncovered from the time that the planet was in Scorpio will suddenly be expanded upon in a very big, dramatic way. So what Saturn does with the square is say, okay, slow your roll, Mercury, and you're only going to release the information that I want you to release when I want you to release it. Now, the other thing about Sagittarius energy is this is about foreign countries, foreign people, right? So there can be information that comes out that is going to require a change in some foreign conflict between some foreign leaders. So it's a pretty big event Friday. And remember, you've got Mars and Uranus also creating a little tug of war. So just be cautious when we have Mars and Uranus energy battling against one another. Mars is associated with accidents. So it is super important. This is like not the weekend to hang the lights. It's not to be climbing ladders. It's not the time to be taking risks. Just play it safe and try to stay close to home. The other thing that is providing a little bit of a lightness is that Mercury and Venus will be speaking in harmony with one another. And as I looked at this connection, and we'll talk about it within this new moon segment next, with my Sip and Stars group this past weekend, I really felt like this looked like the potential for there to be some peace talks, there to be some harmonious communication possible. All right, so as we get into Sunday, and the chart that I have that you guys are looking at is all about those big, bold red lines in the chart, which is that conflict that Uranus in Taurus is creating against this new beginning between the moon, the sun, and Mars. And this is only the beginning. This is going to kick something off, but we are in for intensity for the whole week following this new moon as well. What does that mean? It means that we can't be stagnant. We can't let things just still be the way they've always been. It's time for you to get outside of your comfort zone in some way and to create in partnership with this energy what we want from it, right? What change do we want? That's what we should be setting our intentions on, so that the energy doesn't end up working on us, and instead we are participating in it and guiding it as best we can. But when it comes to Uranus, we always have to be open-minded, and we have to be willing to accept change, and we have to be willing to basically reinvent ourselves in the moment. It can happen that quickly. Now, Uranus and Taurus, right? This need to have freedom financially, right? This need of women in general, right? To fight for freedom, right? There's so many themes that are coming up right now. So if you're going to have this new beginning that you want with this Scorpio, if you want to be in a position of power, you can't use your power to repress women, for instance. You can't use your power to repress innovation. This is a need for balance so that both sides are equally appreciated. Now, Scorpio energy, right? So we are setting intentions for a new beginning in the sign of Scorpio, which rules death, transformation, rebirth, power, emotions, intuition, sexuality. I mean, anything that Scorpio touches is a very intense experience. And the ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. We know Pluto rules the underworld, right? So it's not all the bright, sunshiny things in the material world that we see through the lens of Taurus. These are all dark things that we don't necessarily bring out into the light because we're afraid or ashamed, but we shouldn't be. And that's part of the transformation work that we need to be doing at this time. So it's an emotional reset. Every time we have a new moon in a sign, it's the blend of the moon with the sun is a personal reset somewhere. And it's in that moment of stillness and darkness that we come together and we set our new moon intentions. So you have 10 new moon intentions. They should be written out very much like the eclipse ones were, where we're removing blocks, we're creating change, we're accepting transformation. Really want to go through some major catharsis. You want to break free from fear that's kept you trapped, or shame, any of those things. Those intense experiences are what we need to have in order to grow. I always say that the caterpillar doesn't break through the chrysalis and get out and become the beautiful butterfly without some struggle. All struggle doesn't have to be negative, right? Sometimes it's the struggle, right? When we're lifting the weight, the muscle needs the tension, right? It needs to break down in order to build itself back stronger. It's the same concept, and we will be going through it at this time. A couple of really beautiful things helping us, right? Venus is in that first house with that nice blue line to Mercury in the third house at the end on the screen of what you're looking at. So there's those peace talks, right? There's some harmonious conversations. There's harmonious conversations between two people. There's a bridge that's being created. Maybe there's a bridge being created between two different countries. There is some beautiful potential that could come out of whatever is being deconstructed by the opposition energy here. And then we have Neptune, another outer planet sitting in this chart in that 7th house. Neptune in its home sign of Pisces, it's very strong. So it is very influential, but it's not influence that we necessarily see. We can feel it though. We know there's something there trying to help. We just can't necessarily define what it is. This is why Neptune rules the 12th house. It's the subconscious mind. It's our psychic abilities. It's psychic connections. It's spirituality in general. And it's also our spiritual gifts, which are things like music and art, right? So something in that realm is lending its influence, those 3 blue lines that are trying to counteract those red lines that are being fed by Uranus, And keep in mind, Uranus and Neptune are actually speaking in harmony with one another as well. You just don't see it on this chart, but they are. So when Neptune lends influence to the sun, the moon, and Mars, there is hope, right? So even though the struggle's real, there is hope, and we need to focus on that hope. We need to have faith that all things happen for a reason, that things are showing up for me, they're not happening to me. So it's a big, deep conversation that we are having between ourselves and the universe. So take some time, make sure, if you don't already know, right, what houses are going through this battle. So for instance, in this chart, if you were a Virgo rising, late degree, you would say that it is your third house of the way you think, how you communicate, your local community, how you learn. It's also sometimes looked at as how we teach other people. It can also be your extended family. So something in your community is going through a rebirth process. There's a new beginning trying to occur in this area of your chart. So there's the pressure, right? Across the sky from Uranus in that ninth house of growth and expansion, which says, hey, we can't just play safe and small. Uranus says, let's go big. Ninth house things, big, expansion, growth. Also a strong spiritual sector in your chart. So there's this tug of war, right? I want to stay close. I want to be a big part of my community. I want to make a difference here at home. And Uranus is challenging you to think bigger and not to just play small. And something may shock you that causes you to create a new beginning in your community that has a bigger outreach, for instance, right? So you want to figure out, how can I make both of these houses, areas in my life, happy? Well, happy comes from trying to figure out a way to meet in the middle for both of these extremes. So that's just one example. Of course, there are very many. And then you would look and say, okay, Venus in my first house. This is making sure that I remain loving to myself and I express myself lovingly to other people. I appear fair. That's important. And then this chart will have Mercury right still in the third house. And so again, this is how I discuss things with other people. I need to sound like I know what I'm talking about. That will be really important. And then this would say that with Neptune in this person's seventh house, that there is some important relationship, some person that you have a strong, serious relationship with that is going to be a part of whatever this new beginning is for you. Maybe this person is going to end up marrying somebody from overseas and decide to go live with that partner over there. And that would disrupt everything. But it's what's meant to be, and it's for their best interest. So, again, all kinds of different scenarios and ways that this can show up for you. And if you want to know more specifically, of course, book a session with me. I still have my eclipse special out there, which gives you basically a 30-minute session with an extra 15 minutes to go deeper. So that's still out there. Take advantage of it. Although my slots are filling up pretty quickly, so it's out there for a little bit longer anyway. All right. Woo! So a couple other points here. We have that funny green line also connected to Neptune, and then it goes across into that second house. The house numbers are on the inside of the blue ring, by the way, if you're just starting to learn a bit about astrology. And that green line is inconjunct. It's also called quincunx. It's an odd angle where weird things happen, much like Uranus energy. So there can be something unexpected for this person that has to do with the money they make. It has to do with the people that are a part of the money they make. So this could be about some kind of relationship from the past, potentially, because of the fact that both Neptune and the South Node are they're in retrograde at the moment. So something about the past, some relationship you've had in the past, is coming up in an odd way that could be a part of this new beginning for you. So that's out there. And then, of course, we still have Pluto making a T-square with the North and South Node, with the Hands of Fate. So I've been noticing that Pluto is doing things beneath the surface, and we don't necessarily realize it in the moment. It's when we reflect back on it later when we go, oh, yeah, that is when I made a big change, right when Pluto was squaring those nodes, causing me to get back on my path, let go of something that was causing imbalance in my life. And a lot of that is still and will be for the next year strongly associated with relationships because of the fact that the South Node's in Libra. And if it's not relationships, it's legal issues. So we are seeing both things constantly in the news, are legal battles and relationships that are falling apart. I don't think a day goes by when both of those topics aren't always in the news. All right, that is the big pieces of energy that are going on. So be prepared for an intense week and don't shy away from it, right? When we get uncomfortable, it does push us to reflect on why. When our triggers come up, it's because we need to finally face them, right? And stop letting them run unchecked, right? We're always going to have some triggers. We're human beings, right? It's never all going to be perfect. But hopefully, each time we experience a trigger, we get a little stronger, right? We shorten the response time that the upset has each time we have the trigger, and eventually we can let it go. All right? That's a lot. So you know where to find me if you have more questions. Now we'll transition over into getting even more details about what this big change is that's coming up for us. So I draw a card for your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. Now, the rising sign is your perspective, right? This is from your view, what's going on in your life. It is also how other people are seeing you. So that one is usually easiest to notice changes. And then the sun sign, that's your ego self. We don't always share that with everybody. Our close friends, family know that side of you, but not everybody does. And then, of course, your moon is your emotional experience. So it's good to look at all three cards to get a combined view of what to expect that is going to surprise the heck out of you during this new moon event in the wee morning hours on Monday, November 13th. All right, so let's take a look at the cards. All right, just a reminder, if you skipped ahead, that there's a huge astrology lesson at the beginning that you do not want to skip, because this is super important this week, because the whole week is leading us up to a huge life change, a huge transformation, and especially true if you have any planets in Scorpio around 15 to 25 degrees and any other place in the chart, and whatever that angle is, of course, is going to affect the impact. But your personal planets in that 15 to 25 degrees, and especially the ones right at 20, are going to go through some things. And so you want to be prepared for what that is going to be. So let's get started, of course, with the sign of Aries. All right, Aries, your message for the new moon, your new beginning, has some kind of a financial transformation going on. Now, the Four of Pentacles is a little bit of a standoffish kind of energy. It's being a little bit too protective of your finances. So you may find that you have some pressure to loosen your purse strings a little bit, for instance, because of that energy of Uranus that is trying to shake things up and loosen your grip. I mean, look at this person. They're just grasping and holding on and hugging the money so close to them. But that is really reacting from a place of lack. It can be being greedy. So there is definitely something that is going to come along and shake things up. Now, the 4 is about your foundations. So if there's something that is weak in these financial situations that you have yourself in, this energy is going to blow that up. It's going to tear it down, and then you're going to need to rebuild it stronger, more responsibly, and share what you have with other people. So that'll be very interesting. Okay, next we have Taurus. Aww. All right, so Taurus, you have the Ace of Cups. So whatever is shaking up for you, and of course this is happening in your opposite house, it's happening in your 7th house, and it's an opportunity for you to meet the one. So that's exciting, knowing that this is lining up perfectly. This is definitely a serious soulmate type of relationship. If you aren't interested or looking for romance, or not looking to revive your current romance, because that's definitely possible as well, this could just be creating a really strong new friendship. But it's whatever this new beginning, this new relationship is for you, it is one that is very filled with love and joy and happiness. And this is, you know, a gift from the heavens. The aces come down from the heavens and they hand and grant you something that starts you on a new path. So the aces for the new beginnings. Of course, it's a new beginning with a new moon anyway, but something about this one is next level important for you. So get outside of your comfort zone and let love in. Geminis. All right. Geminis, you have the Page of Wands. So there is something that happens for you this week where an offer is made. And the offer is something that you feel really passionate about. Now, keep in mind that the Page of Wands is somebody who is youthful. It is somebody that can be a little bit immature, so you shouldn't rush all in. But this could also be a new opportunity for you where you work. And whatever this new beginning is at work is something that you feel really attached to and passionate about. So that would be pretty exciting. Now, this, for many of you Geminis, is happening in that 6th house for you. So that can be really exciting. The other thing is 6th house things can be health related. So there could be some big health transformation that you could go through, which maybe you've been suffering with something health-wise, and finally you get to the bottom of it, right? And understand everything that's been going on, and then a big change happens. but there is some major change coming in the way you lead your day-to-day life. This is just the beginning of a really intense week at work where things might really blow up, be huge. So be open-minded to what gets presented for you. That pressure comes from Uranus in your 12th house, which if you work for a large institution, things suddenly get shooken up at work too. So I can expect your job to look a lot different in the next couple of weeks than it does right now. And I think it'll be a welcome change. Now remember, the page is a court card. That means it's a 1 energy. So we've got the double 1 for this new beginning, which is no surprise because it's intense. So let me know how that goes, Geminis. Cancer. All right, Cancers. This card, whenever we pull it, is a little scary and intense because we're looking at the Death card, but it's not necessarily, obviously, a actual death, but it does mean a transformation, a rebirth, a letting go of something that is no longer serving you. It's done. It's reached the end of its life purpose. So whatever this is for you, just know that when we let things go, they can be reborn again, right? That can come back stronger. But as it exists today, whatever this represents for you, you are done with it. Maybe it's done with you, but it's time for you to let this go. Now, for you Cancerians, this is in your 5th house. So in the 5th house, we are looking at things that are associated very closely with our heart. Things like romance, things like children, things like hobbies, creations, right? That's why our children are our creations. So there's something there that just is not going to be able to continue as it is today. Now, for instance, you could have a child that's ready to move away from home, right? And so the relationship as it exists today, it will change, right? It will transform. Day-to-day life will change because this child no longer lives in your home with you. Now, for your romantic relationships, if you're in one that's toxic, right? If you're in one that is not healthy for you, then it's time for it to end. And you cannot keep hanging on to something that no longer serves you. So it isn't the most exciting of energies. Obviously, it's pretty heavy, but it's the Phoenix rising moment that comes out of this that you want to be leaning into. So if you're in a relationship where there aren't good boundaries and it's been pretty toxic, does it have to end? No, but it has to be reborn. The way it stands today cannot continue. It has to be reborn. Could be that you have a creative project that you've been working on, and the way you're going about it, you just keep hitting a brick wall. So reinvent it. This energy is the energy of Scorpio. So it's an intense experience, but have faith. Work with someone who can give you a new, fresh perspective, and know that you can rise above whatever shows up for you this week. So the energy of the Death card is the number 13, Cancers, and that means that this reduces to the number 4 when a 3 becomes 4. So this has something to do with things at home. So all those things that I was talking about, whether it's if you live with this romantic partner, if this is a child, right, that lives in your home, if this is work that you do from home, right, that something to do with home is a part of this big transformation journey for you. All right. Now we can get to Leo. So, Leo, you guys have some disappointments that you're working through this week, but it's not all bad news. Whenever we see the Five of Cups card, we have to remember that we can't ignore the good, right? This guy has his back turned on the good things in his life, and he's just worried about these sad things that are currently in his purview. But yeah, things might be kind of blowing up around you, but that isn't all bad. So this week, it's really important that you remember what's good, that you express gratitude for what is good, and that you focus that energy in a way that's positive, right? To offset these things that are very disappointing to you. Now, the 5 means change. So, of course, we're going to go through some big changes this week, Leos, and they might feel pretty dramatic, but they all serve a purpose. So this does happen for you in your 4th house of home and family. So you can be, maybe you're the child of some Cancer person that is going to move out. And while you know it's the right thing to do, it's stressful and it's a little depressing and maybe it isn't what you want, but it is what's best for everybody involved. So be prepared for some changes. Be prepared for, again, those foundations too, that if there's some support that you don't have and you need, then you got to let go of what isn't working and then welcome in what will. Big energy and big week for you, Leos. Virgo. Wow. Okay, Virgos. So you have the Tower card this week. So everything that we've been talking about, that this is the shakeups. This is that big tension between Uranus and Mars going on. So the shakeups are real for you, Virgos. They are intense, but you need a change. So this is definitely going to change the direction that you've been heading in currently. Now, we use this example of Virgo things in the tutorial earlier. So all the discussion I had about this huge new beginning in your 3rd house, right, is because of this incredible shakeup that comes from the 9th house, which is foreign countries, it's overseas, it's education. So there is some extreme intensity that you will go through this week, but remember, out of that, you are reborn stronger. So the Tower card is number 16. That creates the number 7. This could just be a very internal shakeup for you, right? It's something that you have to do a lot of reflection on internally. Or it's just whatever this big shakeup is, it may cause you to withdraw quite a bit in order to deal with the ramifications of what is going on. Libra. Libras, with more major arcana cards, and you have the Moon card. So this is an intense experience. The Moon brings secrets, right? It brings change. It brings emotional experiences. So while the Moon is dark, it is why we are going to experience an emotional reset. So there could be some secret, something that is exposed that as a result of you learning creates, a huge change and transformation in your life. It's very emotionally charged. Now this for you happens in that 2nd house. And in the 2nd house, we are looking at potentially big changes with the money that you make. Could be a big change in the job. It could be a whole new job altogether. This house also has to do with our self-worth, our values. So something is shaking that up that involves other people. So Uranus in your 8th house is our intimate relationships and partnerships. It is, money that we rely on that comes in from somewhere else indirectly to us. So some source of income that you get like that might suddenly stop or change. And because it changes, it puts pressure on your day-to-day job, which means you got to do more. Or maybe on the good end, you get a big financial windfall and you can quit your job, right? So it can go so many different ways, but it's definitely a financial opportunity that will present itself, and as a result, create some really big changes for you. Now the moon card is the number 18, which becomes the number 9. So it would seem like there's the potential for an ending in the way that you currently make money, but that means a new, better opportunity is coming in for you. So set your intentions wisely. If you just want there to be new responsibilities at work, create those kind of wishes. All right. Well, Scorpio, this, of course, is happening in your 1st house. Oh, isn't this exciting? Man, these cards are so in tune. Hello, Fool card. Hello, big new quest and journey and huge leap of faith that you have to take. So this is in your 1st house, of course, and this says that there is some huge changes coming for you, a brand new beginning, something that you never would have expected in a million years, and you will be off and running. The thing about the Fool card is you feel good about it. You're okay with leaving everything you know behind and taking off with your trusty dog and your knapsack. It's just having faith and knowing that wherever you're being led, it will be a great experience. So you're ready for this change, this complete reset, right? This is the number 0. We are having a complete reset, Scorpios. Now, this may be, again, because of some relationship, right? It's the 7th house where Uranus is in there applying a lot of pressure, shaking things up, calling your attention to your partner, right? So there is huge change in your relationship with yourself and your relationship with other people. I can't wait to hear some of the comments from all of my wonderful Scorpio friends out there. Sagittarius. Sagittarius. The 5 of Swords card is a card that comes up when you need to be really mindful of what it is that you are fighting for. Because this battle, there is no real winner. This is you winning. You have everything, but because of that, you've lost everybody who's important to you. And the cost is not worth it. Not even close. So pay attention, especially if you're getting sucked into battles that really aren't yours. So don't fight somebody else's battle. Make sure that you are being fair in what it is that you're fighting for. But there's a situation, there's a trigger this week where you really need to think about what you're doing and the cost of doing it, because it does not look like it's a good idea. Now for you, Sagittarius, this happens in your 12th house. Now this could have something to do with a hospital. This could have something to do with if you work for a large company. This could be secrets, information that's, brought to the surface that, causes you to pick fights. It is just a big battle that you're having with your subconscious mind. So be be your own best friend this week. Don't beat yourself up, because we all make mistakes. So give yourself a break this week. That 5 energy is the energy of change. Swords are our thoughts, they're our communication. So something that is in currently your day-to-day life is gonna throw a monkey wrench into things, into some plans, and it's going to cause a fight. But step back before you overreact and realize, if everything happens for a reason, why might this be happening to me now? Because change is needed, and you got to step up and meet the change and not fight it. Okay, intense. Next card, we have Capricorn. All right. Capricorns, you have the 8 of Wands. So this could be you taking a trip. This would maybe be an unexpected trip. You are making quick changes, whatever is going on, and the things around you are changing really, really quickly. Now, wands are something we're passionate about. This could be a career change, career opportunity that comes in. Maybe you suddenly have to start traveling for work unexpectedly. Maybe you have to make a big move for work. That's definitely a potential as well. Now, this for you happens in your 11th house. The 11th house has to do with friends, networking groups, service groups. It's where we belong. This is our tribe. So maybe this is a big move that you're making in order to be a part of something bigger than yourself. Now that surprise, the pressure comes from your 5th house, which rules your children. Maybe this is a trip that you have to take because of a child that is gonna, really mix things up for you. So the 8 energy is the energy of strength. So you will be calling on your inner strength this week as well. Aquarius. Oh, yay. Finally, some more happy energy. So Aquarius says you have the 3 of Cups. So in all of this change and turmoil and transformation, there is something to celebrate. Something that is maybe a celebration of you or a celebration of some friends. But you guys are coming together to celebrate some good news, and this is some really good feel good energy. So that's a nice reprieve from where we've been so far. For you, Aquarius, this is a celebration that might have to do with marriage. This might have to do with work and your career, maybe a big promotion, because it's your 10th house that is being activated for most of you. So get ready to celebrate. The 3 energy is about connecting to our creator, to creation, to creativity. So maybe you have some kind of a creative project that you've been working on that is going to get big accolades, and that's what you have to celebrate. And last but not least, Pisces. So I think we started on a 4 and we're ending on a 4 as well. So for you, it's the 4 of Swords, Pisces, and that means it's time to slow down and rest. So there could be something that happens this week that forces you to slow down and rest, or you can decide on your own that you need to just relax, not be overly stressed about things, not to be in your head too much, not to let your subconscious mind rule you anymore. This is the time for you to retreat and rest and take control back of your subconscious mind. Now for you Pisces, this happens in your 9th house, that house where we are having the opportunities for major growth and expansion. This again has some influence with foreign people, foreign countries, and spirit, right? That craziness happens in your 3rd house, which can be your siblings, it could be extended family, it can be something to do with educating yourself. There's something that you think you know, and then that Uranus energy comes in and stirs it up and shows you actually didn't know what you thought you knew, right? So this is like a moment where you suddenly question everything because of something that you learn this week that does cause you to retreat. Now, the 4 energy, of course, is about creating a better, stronger foundation for your mind, for your mental health and well-being. So what it doesn't serve you, it's time to get rid of and create the inner sanctum, right, that you can go to, whether it's through meditation or something like I do for hypnotherapy, where you can just calm down. Phew! Wow, guys. I don't know about you, but that's some pretty intense energy this week. My cards personally are extremely intense, so I am not immune, and I am right there with you. So, somebody better check on me this week. So, this week, if you do find that you're in need of some help or guidance, of course, I have lots of free tools out there. I'll be sending out my new moon article along with publishing of this video. Go read it, go through the details of it. And if you feel just overly stressed out, check out one of my many hypnosis videos that I have out there. Just make sure you download them so that you don't get disrupted by weird commercials. But those are just, they're very calm inducing regardless of which topic you choose. But of course I have the Scorpio energy out there that if you want to just get ready and tune in to create a personal transformation for yourself, that's a great video. And of course I'll have the link in the comments below. And like I said, my slots are filling up fast, but if you want to book a session with me, go out there and look at my lunar eclipse special, because we're still very much in that energy. I'm keeping that offer out there for you guys. All right. I am sending you much love and light. Please send it back. Please make a comment, drop a heart. Let's go through this journey together in as positive a way as we possibly can. And I will see you guys all next week after the big new moon event, and we'll see how we pick up and move ourselves forward. All right. I'll be talking with you soon. Take care.